One of the biggest problems that I have teaching new students to Wing Chun is that they don't appreciate the value of forms or training forms. Now, forms are essential for Wing Chun practice. You speak to anybody that has a dire interest in Wing Chun, they'll often go on about the intricate details of various forms, the first form, the second form, and so on. In fact, we have a blog that we've recently put out based on how to train the form, so check that one out. Now, the idea here is really to discuss how and why forms are important and to encourage you to train the forms, because not only do they give you good structure, strength, conditioning to a certain degree, but what it also does is it gives you a framework to train your Wing Chun. And a classic ideal is in Chi Sao. Chi Sao is an important part of Wing Chun, it's an important part of our Wing Chun training, but the forms relate directly to Chi Sao. So, the tip of today is how to use your forms for Chi Sao. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through some basic ideas. We'll run through the first form, the second form, the third form, not in any detail, but we'll try to discuss it, how it relates to Chi Sao, and hopefully encourage you to practice your forms either here in the academy or at home, but give you a little bit more of appreciation of the type of things you should be doing. So, Peter's going to come and give me a hand. One of the things we're going to look at is just Chi Sao, as I mentioned earlier. So if you look at, can you come around on just this side so it'll be a little bit easier for you to see on the camera. So the first form, for example, teaches you control of the sensor line. So if we're looking at Chi Sao, normal Chi Sao practice, and this is, again, just an idea trying to encourage you to re-examine your practice of your forms. If someone's pressing across my tan, I'm learning to recover my hand back. Now, you're probably thinking, how does that relate to the first form? Well, when you're actually practicing the form, you're bringing your elbow in, and as you're drawing your elbow in, it's teaching you the optimum point of the sensor line. So this is by far not the relationship of where my hand should be in Chi Sao, but rather a point where I can't go beyond. So I can't go beyond that point. So this is the ultimate point of me drawing my elbow in. So it's a good point of reference for me. So what I'm doing is I'm training the muscle memory, the mechanics for where my arm should be. So whenever my arm is moved, and for example in Chi Sao, we're not going to go through a specific debate of where your arm should be in Chi Sao, because this is not about teaching you that. What it's about is teaching you how it relates to the forms. So if my arm is here, and Peter moves my arm out of the way, because I've got a point to measure, because I've spent thousands of hours practicing my form, I know that this is my true sensor line. So therefore, when it's moved, I can recover back. So that's one approach, one idea that's a benefit to you training. The second one would be looking at turning and displacing energy. Second form springs to mind on that. For example, if you're looking at the bong and you're displacing energy, okay, again, if I'm rolling in Chi Sao from here and someone's applying pressure on here, I'm turning and I'm displacing that energy. So what I'm learning to do is, through the practice of my forms, I'm learning to drill this idea where the pressure comes in and I'm moving and displacing it. The dummy also works as well. Training on the dummy form, for example, when you're moving from the outside to the inside, from here to here, which I've shown on quite a few of our videos, is that when I get a lot of pressure coming in directly, that's actually breaking my shapes now. So it's not subtle pressures as I had before. I've got a big movement that allows me to recover that and step in. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is that the forms are an ideal way for you to practice and improve your Wing Chun. So as a new student coming into our academy, what you should do is start to practice your forms as soon as possible. Try to break it down into component parts, see earlier blog on that, but more importantly, find a partner, practice some Chi Sao, whether you do single, whether you do double, it really doesn't matter, but try to relate it to the practice of the framework of the concepts that you're learning from the form. So in closing, the forms relate, do train, find a partner, try it, train hard.